Welcome back to the GN Sports Show. And on set with me is, or via Zoom, I should say, instead of on set, is Mr. Ricky Santos, president and founder of the Generation Next Football Club. Mr. Santos, welcome.
Thanks for having me here, so great to be on the show.
But Ricky, we have a host of stuff we'd like to speak to you about. You've been doing so much for football from the youth level, from the youth perspective, and I know you've tried to assist at the senior level in any which way you can, but really and truly the academy and the development part of it is more your forte. So we could just start off by I think the first event of the year, the start of the season at Generation Next usually starts in September, and Generation Next does 3 terms, right, Ricky? Is that correct?
That's correct. 3 terms which runs concurrently with a regular school term.
All right, and now we're into the final term. I think the term has closed off. So just give me a quick rundown, on the feedback on how you think the term went.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say that Generation X was started in 2012 with 28 kids, and up this year now we're up to 142 kids, or players rather, that have been enrolled in the club. So that's a hell of a success story over 14 years. How we have got the numbers up to such a great amount, combined with the fact that our term fees have not changed since 2012. We have, from the time we started to now, we have managed to maintain the same term fees, and that's in a large part due to our sponsors. Our sponsors over the years for our match kits this year. Well, I'll get into that afterwards. We like to thank Fruiter from AS Bright Sons, AMP Antigua Mason Dairy Products, CIU Citizenship by Investment Unit, Island Photo, ACT, Antigua Computer Technology, and Francis Trading. And they have really allowed us to continue without increasing any membership fees from the time we started to now.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, I must say a positive from the 2025 season, for the 2025-2026 season, is that from 28 kids some 14 years ago or 12 years ago to 140 odd kids now is a lot. That's a lot of players, and that must be a testament to something. Either the environment is good, the coaching is good, the development of the children, because to get from 28 to 148 is not easy. So just give me your take on what you think going on at the club to get the club to that kind of number.
Well, first of all, in 2012 when we started with 2 coaches, and of course as the club has grown, so has the number of coaches grown. And I'm proud to say, apart from 2 coaches that have left the club, which is Desmond Zico Blur and Milton Nestor Byfield, and they only left the club because they were migrating overseas. But those two were 2 of the original coaches in Generation Next. And the coaches of course have played an important part in the success of Generation Next. Because as everybody would know, I'm in admin. I'm good at admin, but I'm hopeless at coaching. So without the coaches, the club could not have evolved into where it is today. So the coaches, of course, also to the parents, we like to thank them for their confidence in us and trust in their kids in our what we consider a safe environment. So the parents had a huge part to it, and of course, our connections, which we established since 2012 when we first started. One of the first things we did was to establish contacts with professional clubs, particularly in the UK, so we can seek advice on how to develop and how to move forward. And all the programs, like our handbook, for instance, was created in conjunction with Bolton Wanderers. They greatly assisted us in creating our handbook. Of course, we adapted and changed things over the time when we were doing it to suit our culture. Because what may work in the UK may not work in Antigua. But they played an instrumental part also too, along with all the other clubs that we're associated with.
All right, Ricky. Well, those are some very good things going on there with the club, and I just would like to tell you that I'm sure that as the parents, just as much as you appreciate the coaches and the parents, I'm sure they appreciate you as much just to provide the opportunity for the kids and provide the opportunity for coaches to develop themselves. Because if you're not coaching, you won't develop. You can't develop as a coach by watching. You have to be coaching. So I'm sure that they do appreciate the opportunity. All right, Ricky. So moving on from the Generation Next season, I think the next event that the Generation Next did was the Calvinayre Foundation Combine. So just give us a breakdown on the amount of coaches that you all had for that combine who came in from the UK and the US, and the amount of registered participants that was a part of that combine, Ricky.
Okay, well, we had, I think it was 11 or 12 coaches that came down, primarily from the UK, because as you know, Antigua is presently experiencing visa issues with the United States. So we didn't see it fit to bring down the coaches from the United States because they wouldn't be allowed to get visas. So until those restrictions have been lifted, we are going to concentrate on getting them into Europe and the UK. Yeah, so 11 or 12 coaches, I think it was 12 coaches that attended the 2025 Calvinayre Foundation sponsored player identification combine. And as a result of that, if I can just run through some figures here. 13 players are now going off to Future Pro for 2-week summer camp. And 1 player is going to the same institution for 2-year educational pro. 17 players are now going off to Steven Gerrard Academy for a similar 2-week summer camp. An additional 5 are going for 2-year educational program at that same institution. 2 players, 1 female and 1 male, are off to Brookhouse College for a 2-year educational program. A further 2 players are off to Acworth School for another 2-year educational program, one of which has gotten a 95% scholarship discount on the fees. So that's basically a full scholarship. 5 are off to Varsity 9 for a 2-year educational program. So as you can see, the success of that program sponsored by the Calvinayre Foundation, and we are eternally grateful because this, I think, is the 5th year that Calvinayre Foundation have sponsored that initiative. And we're very grateful for them for that. That's 30 players total.
30 players total will be going to the UK and football summer camp program this year.
That's correct.
And all that was through the Calvinayre Foundation Player ID Combine.
That's correct.
Okay, and then there would be an additional players who will be going to each of those institutions on 2-year contract processes, right?
Yeah, there's a total of 1 to Future Pro, 5 to Steven Gerrard Academy, that's 6, 2 to Brookhouse, that's 8, and 2 to Acworth School, so that's 10. 10 will be going for 2 years.
So all these players that are going away within this summer is from the previous combine that took place in February at the ABFA Technical Center.
Yeah, and earlier this year, in February this year.
Ricky, how are you getting that? Well, we must say that there must be some sort of development across the country to be able to produce that number of kids getting opportunities, Ricky.
Yes, of course. Of course, because you have, as I've always said, you have a lot of dedicated coaches that are in the communities that give up their time without any financial reward, just for the love of the sport and the love of the kids. And a lot of those coaches should be recognized for what they're doing, because unlike Generation Next, where we do charge a fee to be part of the club, and we do pay the coaches. A lot of these community coaches are not paid, and most of them even go into their own pockets to assist in getting the development of the players over in their community. And those coaches should be highly recognized.
All right, Ricky. Well, that is most definitely true. And hats off to all these kids who put themselves out there, who took the opportunity provided by the Calvinayre Foundation to have the combine and put their best foot forward, and were recognized by these scouts to be able to be given this opportunity to go in the UK and look to perform. So so how much years now, Ricky, has the Calvinayre Foundation Player ID Combine been running?
It started in 2019, so that'll be this would have been the 7th year.
So this is the 7th year, and has the amount of players that have been going off on a yearly basis been this amount? Has been this high, or this
No,
highest year?
no, this is the highest every year. To be honest, it has increased, and this year is highest. I should take this opportunity also to thank the Prime Minister's Scholarship Fund, and in particular Maurice Merchant, who's financially assisted a lot of them, because almost all of them, barring two, are on partial scholarships, and the Prime Minister's Scholarship Fund have assisted them financially to make up the balance.
Oh, okay, Ricky. All right. Well, so we should be looking forward to an increase in numbers come 2027 when we have the Calvinayre Foundation ID combined. Because if I am a kid and I'm seeing all these kids going out there to go on summer camps and full scholarships and so on, I should be motivated to want to be in the next bunch of kids that go out. So we should be looking forward to an even better combine in terms of the organization, and maybe even if the restrictions from the US get lifted, that we could get more kids basically to go to the UK and the US.
Bearing in mind, when we first started this, everybody told us that there's no way we'll get any scholarships in the UK. And we have managed to get basically two full scholarships, and a number of 50%, 60% discount. So, which is significant in itself. But it doesn't come without a lot of tireless work at the back end that we do to ensure that we get a lot of these scholarships out there. And the reason why we bring down multiple scouts and coaches is simply because we want them to barter with one another to see who can offer the best. Because at Generation X, we do not take a position to highlight one over the other. As far as we're concerned, we're there to provide the opportunity and offer advice if needed when they come to us in terms of how to make the applications, how to present the applications, how to apply for their visas and so forth. We assist the youngsters and their parents in that regard. But we do not interfere with any scholarships that are offered. So if, for instance, and this happens from time to time, one particular coach will want this particular kid, and then they will come to me and say, but this other school is offering that, or this other club is offering that. I say, well, it's not for me to take sides. You all make a better offer and see if you accept it. So we like them to barter to one another, because who benefits is our players in Antigua.
All right.
Yeah,
I understand, Ricky. Well, Ricky, I must applaud you and the Calvinayre and also Generation Next and this venture. For 7 years, to be consistent in anything in this country for 7 years and consistently growing is something that takes a lot of dedication, and definitely you have that. Well, we have just maybe about 4 or 5 months ago also, we just concluded the ACB Junior Premier League, which was the Generation Next Youth League in previous times, but the name has changed this year. So I just want to know how we come about the name change and stuff like that.
Gomez Netherlands Insurance were our title sponsors for from 2014 for 11 years. They were our sponsors, and they decided that they were going to opt out last year. That's in 2025, and ACB Caribbean came on board, and they assumed the title sponsorship. Just to acknowledge the sponsors for that particular initiative by Generation Next. Of course, ACB Caribbean, Milo, which is the sole distributors at AS Bridens, and the Citizenship by Investment Unit. Those are the three: the title sponsor, the gold sponsor, and the silver sponsor for the league. And this particular year, each year the league has become more and more competitive, because of course all the teams want to be the top dog, and they want to get the championship trophy. And we have 6 divisions, and in each division you have first, second, and third place trophies along with medals. And in each division you also have the best goalkeeper, the best defender, the best midfielder, and the golden boots. So there are a number of awards. Everybody is vying for it. Every year, the competitiveness of the league has increased significantly. This year in particular, for the under 7s, the under 9s, and the under 11s, the champions were determined on the final day of the matches in their respective decisions. So any one of 2 or 3 teams could have won the championship for those 3 divisions, and that was determined on the last day. Which, to be honest, I'm so proud of that, because it shows how the coaches from all the clubs are dedicated to winning their divisions. So that org was really, really good for that.
So then now, so we know ACB is on board now as the title sponsor, but the Junior Premier League, Ricky, you just give a little bit on how y'all got to the Junior Premier League part of it, if there's anything to add to that.
Okay, well, first of all, up until last year, it was branded as I said, the Gomez Netherlands Youth Football League, and then last year we partnered with the Junior Premier League out of the UK. It's UK based, but the Junior Premier League is the major youth league in the UK, and they also operate the Junior Premier League in Canada, in the States, in Dubai, in Oman, and they're going into Africa and also China. So it's growing, and what the partnership entails, because Generation X has the franchise now for the Caribbean, but what it entails, we can send teams to play in championship matches in any one of the areas that they operate, any one of the locations, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in England. We are afforded that opportunity. We even afforded the opportunity that we can get our players from Antigua to go up and play with one of the teams if we can't manage to send a whole team up. Which, to be honest, I'm hoping that next year that we will be able to send a winning team from one of the divisions to go to the UK to participate in a championship match against one of their champion teams, and see how we perform from down in the Caribbean. So that is what the Junior Premier League offers. And of course, we're hoping to expand the Junior Premier League along with the player identification combined throughout the islands.
All right, Ricky. That's some really, really good stuff there. And I must say, I'm part of the Generation Next club as a coach, and I really do appreciate the league, because it's very good on the weekends to come over there and watch the kids play, coach our kids. The enthusiasm that the leagues bring, the enthusiasm from the coaches also, just to come out and have their players and then play in a week-to-week basis and stuff like that.
And if I can say this, don't mean to interrupt you. So if I can say this also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the only league format that none of the participating teams have to contribute any financial aspects to play in the league. It's all free, because we have the sponsors that cover the cost for everything. So none of the teams are expected to pay for a player, pay for a team to participate in it. All they have to do is to come in and sign up. As a matter of fact, sign up online. Not even come in and sign up online. And then with of course the players in the team and the ages, and we have to have that verified. But there's no cost attached to any of the teams participating in the league, simply because we have good sponsors that cover the cost for everything.
Well, they must say, they have good sponsors, there must be good administration, Ricky. And I guess you and the team that you have doing the admin part of it and the marketing part of it is doing really well, because to have a whole youth league where at the presentation ceremony there's so much awards to be won and given out, medals, trophies for teams, individual awards, referee awards and things like that. The admin team must be doing a fantastic job. Well, I know you are on the admin team. If you'd like to just call a few more people who was part of that team to make sure that the league ticks over properly and help to keep things in place.
Well, there are 2 people in the admin. It's myself and Jonathan Thorogood. But I would not like to exclude, once again, our coaches, who may not be in the admin part, but they do play a significant role. It assisted the admin in carrying out our functions. So as I always say, Generation X is not just about Ricky Santos or just about the admin. It's a holistic development program that everybody contributes. It's like a family. The coaches contribute, the sponsors contribute, the parents contribute, and of course we in the admin, we do contribute also. but there's a holistic development. Everybody has an input, and we take, of course, the admin makes the final decisions, but we take everything into consideration. Like particularly, you know this, so when it comes to anything to do with coaching, I would never override you or Coach Nabu or anybody of that nature, because I am not a coach. So I would normally go along with anything that you guys bring to the table that may enhance our product, our Generation X product.
Yeah, so we have touched base. We was talking about the Premier League and all the sponsors and so on, and you know you gave us a very good insight on the ACB during the Premier League. So now, Ricky, you know Generation X is not just a football club. There's quite a few supporting arms of the Generation X, and there's one arm just I think is recently added, the Parents Coaches, the Generation X Parents Coaches Association. So just give us a little bit of insight on the association and what's its function within the club.
Okay, that was created last year, the GNPCA, which comprises of all the coaches in Generation X and the support of the parents also too. So the thing about it is that the parents and the coaches, of course, as I alluded to earlier, play an important role in Generation X. Now, the funds that are raised, we raised some significant funds. I'll have to check with Jonathan in terms of for the amount, because I can't remember the amount off the top of my head, because Jonathan handles that. But they raised some significant funds over the duration of the Junior Premier League, the ACB Junior Premier League that we run, and those funds are in a separate account and will be allotted for the travel of coaches and players, as we normally do annually. This is the first year we haven't done it in 5 years. But next year we're hoping to restart it, and we normally send between 5 and 10 players to institutions in the United Kingdom, school institutions, so that our coaches can see what the schools up there are looking for, so they can bring back that methodology down here to try and help train them to get up there. And then, of course, the players will get the awareness of what up there football is like. And how they can adapt it when they get up there. So that's why that was created, and it has been a successful year. Unfortunately, we didn't raise enough funds to send the 10 players. We could have only sent maybe about 2 or 3, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to send a maximum amount of players and coaches, of course. Each year, a coach will attend, a coach or two will attend with the youngsters that are going up.
All right. So, well, from the fundraising side of it, I think the PCA does a fantastic job over there, especially during the ACB Junior Premier League, where the kids and them could get snacks and drinks and stuff like that, snow cones and so on, because I've seen them out there working. I've seen the coaches behind the booth. I've seen parents behind the booth, and I know that the contributions to some of the items comes from the coaches, and sometimes the parents do play their part in contributing towards the construction. But the structure of the GNPCA, just give us a bit about the structure in terms of there's a president, vice president, so on.
Yeah, well, we have a president. The president is a parent, Samoya Kirby. The vice president is one of our coaches, Vincent Nabu Samuel. The secretary is a parent, which is Amy Lake. And of course, Jonathan handles the financial part of it. He collects the money he deposits the parent group at the bank.
So Jonathan is the treasurer?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
More or less.
Unelected treasurer.
Unelected. But right, so I think that's good. Yeah, there's a parent at the helm, and then there's a coach who's inside also. I think that's a good balance for it to work, yeah, and for it to be successful. And the way in which the money is being used is a very good way in terms of getting the kids from here, even if they don't get through on a combine, that at least we could send a few kids and a few coaches. And I think it's a good education also for our coaches to go out there and see how these academies work or how these universities work, and try to implement these things into our system, so when our kids do go out, it's not a new environment or a new system. It's something that now they has a bit of experience in, and it's easier to adapt. You adapt to things easier when you have an idea of what it's about. So I must commend that the GNPCA and what it's doing is really good. And as I say, Generation X is not only about the football, but in extension, having everybody involved and being an all inclusive instead of outside of football and beyond. Also, Generation Next also has the GN Sports Show, which is powered by Calvinayre Foundation also. I hear that you have a very young and energetic and fantastic host in it by the name of George Saw Dublin. I just want your insight on if you think he's doing a good job on the show or not. We know Terry's and Mr. Terry Andrew from ABS is also a host on the show. We know he's a TV personality, so we don't have to query his credentials. I just want a little insight on Mr. Dublin's credentials.
Well, first of all, Mr. Dublin, the combination of George Dublin and Terry Andrew is fantastic. It's a fantastic synergy. It's an added feature to both of them, friends from years gone by. And both are doing equally, I think, a fantastic job. Of course, we cannot leave out the Calvinayre Foundation media team, headed by Patrice Jacobs, Remy Laurent, Ashley Walter, Cameron Jeffers, and of course the great one, Marlon Jeffers. Without the combination of them, making the production what it is today, and the production has grown literally from week to week. And we'd like to just express our gratitude to the Calvinayre media team for sticking with us and allowing us this opportunity. And of course, I will single out George Saw Dublin for doing a very, very good job as the co-host on the show. I didn't realize that he was such good as a media personality, but he is developing really, really nicely.
All right. Well, I think George Saw Dublin will appreciate your sentiments, but I think George Saw Dublin likes to talk. So on TV and radio, he's talk. So I guess
he does talk a lot. He does talk a lot.
I think he does that well. I must say that the show is progressing smoothly. I think this is my second season on the show. But I know there's someone who's bringing in the guests, and I didn't hear any mention of the person that's bringing in the guests. So I'd like you to tell me who does be bringing in these fantastic guests that we just be having on the show, Ricky.
Well, it's a combination of many things. I am not there in Antigua. Normally, that responsibility is on me, but in recent weeks, George Saw Dublin, Terry Andrew, and Patrice have been working feverishly in bringing the guests of the show, and I'm beginning to believe that I'm becoming obsolete.
I can't see you becoming obsolete, but any which way, Ricky, I think the GN Sports Show is a good thing that the kids could actually get to listen to some of themselves, because we do have kids from Generation X coming on the show. But what brought about the idea of having this show, Ricky?
Well, the show was created to, once again, Generation X is a holistic development of not only the player, but the player as a human being, and to become a good citizen also too. And this exposes them to media and public speaking, so that if one of them or all of them were to make it at a high level and were to be interviewed, they wouldn't be stumped. They'll be accustomed to it. So, and it's not only interviews for Generation X players. We interview across the board, across the sports. It's a youth-focused sports show, so it's not a traditional sports show. However, we do bring on senior personalities to inspire our youngsters. So that's basically why the show was created. It's basically for the youth to give them, and particularly for the sports that may not necessarily get the media coverage that they so deservingly do. So we try to get the sports that, like for instance, karate. Karate is not a highly known sport. It's not a highly media covered sport. So we interview them. Table tennis is another one, and sports of those natures that are not media. Don't have the media availability that football or cricket may have, or even swimming nowadays.
Yeah, but I must add to Ricky, from being on the show and being a host on the show so far in the 2 seasons I've been here, I didn't even know that there was gymnastics in Antigua and Barbuda, and on this show I've got to realize that we do gymnastics here. I've never really spoken to anybody from karate, and we interviewed people from karate. I've seen baseball being played around the country, but a couple of different spots I've seen them, and we have the opportunity to interview some baseballers here, coach and players. and gotten an insight on what it is, and it seems like it's very exciting. So the show is really, I think, is a good thing, because once as a player, I used to have to do a lot of interviews. I was always a talker, so it came natural to me, really. I never had, but I've been in interviews with other players who were just, the first time, and when coach called and they didn't want to go because they've never done an interview before. But something like this, especially exposing athletes, you don't have to expose the highest athlete, because you might not be the best athlete in your sport at a young age, but in the later age you might progress. And just this opportunity from here would be able to, you'll be able to speak to the interviewer and express yourself. So where do you see the GN Sports Show going, Ricky? And I know you to be the type of person that always see things going on. But just give us something that you would expect to see improve on GN Sports Show.
Well, I would like you to see the audience grow a lot larger than it presently is. We are working with some media people up here that can gain exposure for all what we are doing, including the GN Trust, the GN Sports Show, the GN Sportswear. So if we can get that push to get the audience to grow, not only locally but internationally, and then it gives a lot of credibility to Antigua, and it exposes a lot of the Antiguan sporting personalities, however young they may be to however old. So that's the aim, and we're striving hard to get it there. So as I say, we're working with some media savvy people up here to try and get that. Having said that, also too, my son Michael has joined the GN group, and he was previously in media and television, and he has one of his mates that were working with him in the media, presently doing a documentary on Generation X, because he thinks this should be highly publicized, and he believes he can get it in one of the major networks once it is completed. He has done some, not interviews, but documentary footage since I've been here in over the Easter and recently, and he's coming down for the combine also too. So you'll see a cameraman around there doing different shots and catching people in their natural environment, not necessarily as an interview. So a documentary, and hopefully he believes Netflix or one of those networks will carry it once it's finished.
All right, Ricky, some fantastic stuff and fantastic information, and the future is looking bright for the GN Sports Show, Ricky. So just to touch on another arm of the Generation Next Football Club, we have the GN Trust, which is based in the UK, Ricky. And from my understanding, being with Generation Next, this has been something that you've been working on. I think you just got it finalized recently. So it's now it's public now, and just give us an insight on the GN Trust.
Okay, the GN Trust was created, and well, it was officially incorporated and authorized by the Charity Commission of England and Wales, and the sole purpose of it is to assist our young budding student athletes, not necessarily football, but student athletes, with their educational challenges that they may face financially, that is. So that's why the GN Trust was created. And so far we have just over £1,000 that we have raised in it since I've been here, and we have 10,000 pledged from a sponsor that should be in the account by the end of this month, early next month, and we are under the patronage of the Governor General and Lady Williams's charity, the Halo Foundation, and they have pledged another 5,000. So we should have hopefully by September we should have in excess of £20,000, and that we would have generated, and all of those funds will be going to educational institutions to assist, like those players that are coming up here that may need extra financial assistance. We will be assisting them with that, and that's why it's created. And if I can just move the camera around a bit, and I will just show you what we have here. We have some signed jerseys and 2 signed cricket bats. This first one is from Sir Geoffrey Hurst. The second one here is from Robert Fowler. Those are 2 former English players. And this one here is from Coventry Football Club. They just got promoted to the Premier League. And we have those two bats there signed by Sir Andy Roberts, Sir Viv Richards, Sir Richie Richardson, and Sir Curtly Ambrose. So those are some signed jerseys we just sold. That's why we have £1,000, just over £1,000 in the GN Trust account. We just sold Steven Gerrard signed jersey and Frank Lampard signed jersey.
Okay, Ricky. So the GN Trust is about the youths, and anything that has to do with the youths is always something that is good and welcoming. The signed bats, I know they are all national heroes who signed those bats, and those bats are definitely...
And West Indian heroes, and West Indian icons.
And West Indian icons, but most likely all 4 of them are Antiguans, we must say so. And they're definitely household names across Antigua and across the UK. So I know those bats will be something that people will be grabbing for when that auction comes across.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, so if I could jump in here. We recently attended, my good wife and myself recently attended the Halo Foundation Gala in London on the 12th of this month. And they had a bat. Our bat was supposed to go on auction, but the frames actually only just came in today, and I didn't want to take it just with a bat without the proper frames, as you saw.
Okay.
And had a bat there that was just a bat wrapped in plastic, signed by Sir Vivian Richards, and that fetched £2,000, £2,100 to be exact. That was auctioned, and that's what that bat got. So I suspect that if we have one signed by not only Sir Viv, by Sir Richie, Sir Curtly, and Sir Andy, we should get a little bit more than that.
Well, definitely. But you know how it is in the UK when it comes to Sir Viv. There's nothing with signature that is going to stay. It's always going to go. He's an icon, a world icon, and really appreciated around the world by sports enthusiasts, especially the cricket fraternity, especially. Well, Ricky, we have touched on, basically the good arms of the Generation Next Football Club. We just move on now to the 2026 season is coming up, Ricky. I know the season starts in September and it runs right down until June 2027. So the 2026-2027 season. I've been hearing in the grapevines that the Generation Next kits have been the same design for quite a while. And knowing you don't like to hear people talking about nothing that you have and it's not sounding special. So I'm hoping that there would be some new designs coming out for the upcoming season.
Well, every 3 years, I'm glad you brought that up. Every 3 years, we keep our same colors, but we change the design. So we still have the yellow and black, which is our main color. So we have a different design, and that is coming out for the 2026-27 season in starting on the 19th of September. So, and this year we are adding even the coaches' kits are different this year. Coach Sauer, you'll be glad to hear. We have an all blue kit and an all white kit, with a similar kind of design but different colors, of course. And we have an addition to all the benefits without, I have to stress this, without any increase again in term fees. We have each player will be getting 2 kits. They'll be getting the match kit, which is the yellow and black, and they will be getting a training kit, which will be red and yellow. So the kids are getting 2 kits at no additional cost. Thanks again to sponsors. Whatever we do in Generation X, we like to keep any kind of remuneration that we may expect into the club. We like to keep it as minimal as possible. So we are fortunate enough that we got extra sponsors for the kits, for the training kits. So that we did not have to pass that on to the players or the parents. Oh. So we have two kits now, in addition to what they normally get, which is the bag, the cap, the socks, and 1 kit. Now they're getting an additional kit.
That's nice. That's really nice, Ricky. So they will have a red and yellow kit, which will be specifically for training, and they will have original colors of a black and yellow, or yellow and black, I should say, because it seems like it's more yellow than black. So it's yellow and black kit, which is the game kit.
Yeah, I did that also because the coaches have 2 kits, so why not the players?
Well, the coaches have two kits, and understandable that the coaches deserve two kits because the coaches are the ones that are imparting their knowledge onto these youngsters. And two kits, you should have two kits: a hot sun kit and a cool weather kit. So I know that we just train on a Saturday, and I figured that's why the coaches have two kits. Ricky, where you're training us under the bus there, but we do appreciate. So you laid out that the kids' kits, one is training and the color of the training kit, and one is game. But no, so how is that the same process with the coaching kit? Is the one kit a training kit and one is the kit that they wear on the game when they or
no, the coach's kit, the blue kit will be used during the week, the weekdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, because the sun is less volatile and less harsh. So the white kit will be used on Saturdays, which will incorporate matches also too. So that they don't burn up in the sun much. So that's the reason for it.
You don't roast.
Yeah, so you don't roast.
All right.
If I can say something about the upcoming season, of course we'll be restarting the Calvinayre Foundation Advanced Academy, and we'll be working in conjunction with the ABFA to create it as a national elite program. And included in it, of course, is SAT classes, and all of this is free, simply because Calvinayre Foundation sponsors all the costs.
All right. So well, yes, that's an added benefit to football and to footballers and youth football on a whole. So this Advanced Academy would be a program that is run during the same seasonal as the Generation Next, how the Generation Next is run.
Yeah, the same season, identical. The only difference is that it's operated on different days, and you have to come and try out. You just can't come and think you'll get in. The coaches will make their selections. Everybody can come and try out for it. The coaches will make their selections for the under 13s, 15s, and 17s and up, and the females. The coaches will make that determination. And then we, of course, we coaches to carry out the educational component of it.
All right. So as you say, it is a combination of the CAF Advanced Academy and the Antigua Football. So I remember the Advanced Academy. I was a part of the Advanced Academy, and the coaches used to get a nice kit. So I guess there's going to be a kit for the coaches, and the players used to get their kit from the thing. So would that still be the same process? The coaches will get the kit, and the players will get their own kit also?
That's correct. Identical to what happens in Generation Next happens in the Advanced Academy. Right. The only difference is that the Advanced Academy is free.
Okay. So, and as you say, the coaches, there would be a combine, and then the coaches will select the players that they want. So, and there would be age groups. They said under 15s, under 17s, and under 20s. I think you say it is. That's how we run.
On the 17s, I normally say on the 17s enough, but
on the 17s.
But the coaches will determine that. And the females, don't fit the females.
So with something like this, I think that could increase the amount of training time that these players will be able to get at a high level, so that when time comes around to participate in international tournaments, they would be a lot better equipped to be able to go and deal with that. So I hope that everything would work out and run smoothly between the CAF Advanced Academy and the ABFA to get a program, because I think we need a program like that. And I believe if this is sponsored by Calvinayre Foundation, then there's very, very minimal financial burden on the ABFA for something like this, and which is something that we want.
Well, the only financial burden that would be on the ABFA is, to be quite frank, is if they wanted to add additional coaches of their choice. But other than that, there's no additional. If they wanted to just work with the coaches that are in there, then there's no additional cost for them. There's no cost for them. If there any coaches they may want to add, and I suspect they probably would want to appoint one or two coaches with the coaches that are presently involved in it. I suspect that they would want that, but that would be at their cost.
Oh, okay.
And just one other thing before we sign off. Mm-hmm. Years ago, I think the last one we had was in 2018, which was the Futsal League. And the Futsal League, of course, is a five-a-side played on a hard court with a heavier ball. And we're hoping to reintroduce that that into our program, into a league format where we'll have teams from all over participating in it. So we're hoping to do that in October, November
of this year?
Of this year. We're hoping to do it this year.
All right, well, I'm sure by the time you get back into the country, you'll start to do marketing and promotions to get, the enthusiasts. Because there's a lot of small court enthusiasts out there. So I know by the time you get back and you start to do promotion, there will be a few people.
Well, the only challenge I have with that is that I have no intentions of playing it on a concrete surface. So we'll either have to do that at the YMCA volleyball arena, or we do it at St. Anthony's on the airport, which I showed you when we were having a closing ceremony. So it'll be one of those two places.
I think JC has something similar to that. I don't. JC is a hard court. I think JC has a matting too, but I'm not sure. Well, Ricky, well, listen, as you say, and it might run in, you might have another problem with that because a lot of these players play association football, and that's the time association football also runs.
No, this is youth.
Oh, this is youth. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I think you shouldn't really have no problems with it. I think it should work out to be, something that could happen. Well, Ricky, I can't say enough about the information given. We touched on a lot of different topics that's going around in the Generation X Football Academy, and it's all good news from my standpoint. All good news, And Ricky, I just want to wish you all the best in your endeavors in keeping Generation X up and running as one of the premier clubs or academies out there with helping the kids, whether it's kids in Generation X or kids across Antigua and Barbuda, and coaches also across the country. So with this, I just say thank you, Ricky, for coming on the show. We really do appreciate it. Looking forward to the next conversation, which might be sooner rather than later, because I know with you there's always something to announce. Ricky, I want to tell you, enjoy the weather in the UK, because earlier told me it was at 38 degrees. Looking forward to speaking to you on another occasion.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nsawa.
Sports Show.